I'm going to go home. Did she?
Take this off.
We should.
Thank you again.
That he bothering you? I'm cold.
Okay. Okay.
The continuing effort, we got to keep going out there.
Well, yeah, that's what the initiative, the city initiative is about, so, hopefully.
That's what we got to get. Consent agenda.
Volunteer join up,
Did you ever hear that?
to the city website.
You haven't. Really? Okay. We're on. I got my mic on.
I know, he told me like two different, who knows?
Okay.
It's really new now, but it's, everyone calls him.
Well, however I say it, I've got it.
His older brother, Patrick's the building owner.
Oh, okay.
But, they're brothers, it's family, so they kind of have they can talk for each other. But
Go home. We haven't had supper yet.
Thank you.
and we'll all be like,
It is 6:59 at this time. Can everyone put their phones on silent or vibrate in respect of the meeting? It is now 7 p.m. I want to welcome everyone to the regular meeting. It is May 3rd, 2022, and at every meeting, at our regular meeting, we always start our meeting with invocation, and then we go into our Pledge of Allegiance. At this time, I ask everyone to stand and join us, if you will. And today, we have a special guest that will be doing the invocation. Usually, it's led by our Councilwoman, Sarah Lucido. Can you introduce yourself to everyone, and then you can go right into the invocation, please.
Okay. Let us pray. Our Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. Thank you for this council meeting tonight. And God, we want you to keep this council meeting smooth as possible. We love you. We love the council so much that we can get this thing going, and we want to do that also. And we just wanted to get this thing going and smooth so we can get back home with our families and friends. And all I ask is things in thy name. Amen and amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Zender, for that. It's nice when our residents or our business owners take part in our council meeting in a positive way. And so, speaking of positivity, I want to thank everybody for being here that's in the audience, and also the team, the East Point team that I say. And we're going to go right into roll call so we can introduce this team. Council.
Councilmember Baker.
Here.
Councilmember Curley.
Here.
Councilmember DeMonico.
Here.
Councilmember Lucio.
Here.
Mayor Owens.
Here. At this moment, would council like to add or subtract anything from this agenda?
Yes, Madam Mayor, I would like to remove item D because we concluded that item in our first meeting. So I would move forward with approving, no one has any other changes?
No.
No, ma'am.
I'll move forward with approving the agenda with the removal of item D.
Support.
Motion and support, please call the roll.
Councilmember Lucido.
Yes.
Councilmember Curley.
Yes.
Councilmember DeMonico.
Yes.
Mayor Owens.
Yes.
Councilmember Baker.
Yes.
Next item is the hearing of the public. We have two hearing of the publics, one in the beginning and one closer to the end. We give everyone 3 minutes. I usually don't start the timer till you say your name and your residency. I don't want to add that to the time, and we ask you to be respectful of your peers. And the first hearing of the public is now open.
Good evening, council members and Madam Mayor. My name is Lynn Salafia, 24636 Tuppert. I'm the chair for the East Point Beautification Commission. This past Saturday, April 30th, we had our annual East Point Beautification Cleanup. We met at the northeast parking lot area of Gratiot and 8 Mile, behind the Burger King where the old Kmart used to be, and is now owned by the Great Lakes Garden Company. With the help of over 30 volunteers, we were able to collect 38 bags of garbage, including a 6-foot door collected by Sarah Lucido and Mike Kleinfeld on Kelly Road. But we gathered trash along 8 Mile from Kelly Road to Gratiot. First, a big thank you to our city liaison, Joe Marucci, for taking the time to purchase our new grabber sticks. We couldn't have done it without you. Thanks, Joe. And thank you to Uno and his family, owners of the Great Lakes Garden Company, and business partner with Sam Tariq, who also provided hamburgers and hot dogs to our hungry volunteers. We'd like to thank our current and past council members, Sarah Lucido, Cardi DeMonico Jr., and Mike Kleinfeld. We'd also like to thank Judge Kathy Galen, City Attorney Richard Albright, DPW Director Darren Palucci, and Clinton Township Trustee Mike Keys. We'd like to give a special thank you to Vicki Coleman, who not only volunteered this Saturday, but stops to collect trash on any given day she sees it. She carries grippers and trash bags in the back of her car and just gets out and picks it up. So thank you, Vicki, very much. And to our Beautification Commission members, Paul Colby, Sine Morrell, Lakita Cobb, Pam Russell, Craig Wadecki, Kathy Schloss, sorry, Kathy, and Hadel Toma, and to all our East Point resident volunteers who we cannot do without. On behalf of the East Point Beautification Commission, we thank you all for helping to keep East Point beautiful. And next Saturday is the library book sale, which in their courtyard, we will also be holding a plant exchange. So if you want to come and buy some books, bring some plants to exchange, everybody's welcome, and we'll be real happy to see you there. Thank you.
Thank you. It's good to see you as well. I haven't seen you in a long time, so it's good to see you. Anyone else would like to speak at this time? Come on up, please. And thank you for your work in the community, all who are a part of beautification. Thank you for that.
Gary Myron, from East Point resident for a lot of years. My concern is the electrical boxes that are at the new streetlights. Take this one right outside City Hall. When you're going southbound on Gratiot and you turn it onto Aurora, you're stopping at the light. You can't see any cars coming. Where you're supposed to be stopped at the light or at the line, you can't see nothing coming. So if anybody's going to blow through anything, you know, if you're going to go, you're not going to see anybody coming. I don't know if there's been any accidents there. And there's one at the turnaround where Camden Street is also. Is when you're looking north, you can't see any cars coming. That's my concerns. Now, that sounds like engineering, oops. Anyways, there's 2 more coming up. They're not there yet, 9 Mile and Hayes. If you're going south onto 9 Mile, from 10 Mile, stopping at 9 and Hayes, 7-Eleven, they're putting one there. Nobody uses that light to cross. They use the driveway of 7-Eleven. The box is not there yet, but if you look where it's going to be, nobody's going to see anybody crossing the street there. So I would say somebody's going to get hit because it's a busy spot. People like, you know, that whole corner right there is bad. That's where I live, right down there, so I know. Another one is Beechwood. You get into Beechwood, going north on south of 9 Mile, and they're putting another box there. So if you're looking east, yeah, if you look east, you won't be able to see any cars coming. A lot of times they'll put them like 15, 20 feet from the road down the street. And that's probably what they should do before they start putting in all the wiring. But out here, it looks like they're gonna, they have all these other places out here, and they picked the worst spot of them all. I don't know who to talk to. I'll mention it to you guys, and I talked to other residents, and they all agree. So maybe we'll just do it publicly, and maybe something will get done. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. As you were talking, our city manager, Ms. Walton, was actually taking notes. I think that's the first time I've seen a city manager take notes while a resident was talking, so thank you for doing that. And also, this is recorded, so we take those notes from the recording as well. So thank you for that, those concerns, because they are our concerns as well. Anyone else would like to speak at this time? Okay, seeing none.
My name is Larry Edwards, East Point resident. I'd like to speak at this time in regard to the road repairs and constructions that was done before the pandemic that had taken place. There was a lot of promises that was made, even blueprints of certain places that was going to be addressed and fixed. And one I'm speaking of in particular is the street of Mott. I talked with the guy named Joe, last name started with M. We went back, we talked quite a bit on that and what have you. That Mott would be replaced. Well, they replaced every place around Mott but Mott. And it was, come to find out, that it was rejected completely, and due to whatever finances or whatever the case may be, and what have you, and through this, a lot of people that's on the council now, and what have you, where there was a temporary fix for it as well that was rejected because the plan was to fix the whole thing from one end to the other end. And so since that didn't happen and what have you, the 10-year plan would be better than nothing. You can't just let streets go and not ever do nothing with them, have nothing in the makings, nothing, no plan for them whatsoever. I've already experienced on my street, I have to come to my street off of Mott to get to Fairlane, where a tree fell down on my car and what have you. I mean, people shouldn't have to get injured for you to get up off your do-behinds to do something, or to scrumble up the money to where you can come and go ahead and do what you should have been doing, fixing and looking for. If I go on some of your streets, I'm wondering what I find and everything. And so that's what I want to address. Mott needs to be fixed. There's no ifs, ands, and buts, no excuses, no whatsoever about in there. It's a roller coaster, it's a dip, it's everything that's set up for disaster and what have you. I ride motorcycles, I got low profile cars and what have you. I have to go from one side to the other side, to the other side, to the other side to try to get from one end to the other end. It's just ridiculous, especially when you're on that end where I live and we paying the taxes we paying.
Thank you, sir. And again, our city manager is writing down that street and those concerns as well. And I believe on our website, we have a capital improvement plan, which lets you all know the yearly, what streets that we're working on each year. Is that correct? So you can have an idea of what streets are being fixed next. And yes, sir. So if you want to look on that capital improvement plan and see if Mott is something that we're, okay. We just wrote that down as well as a concern. Thank you, sir. Anyone else would like to speak at this time before we close the hearing of the public? But again, you get another chance to speak at the end. No one at this time? Okay. First hearing of the public is now closed. We go into approval of minutes.
Madam Mayor, I would move that receive and file of the regular minutes from the meeting of April 19th, 2022.
Support.
Motion and support. Please call the roll.
Councilman Curley.
Yes?
Councilmember Lucido,
Yes.
Mayor Owens,
Yes.
Councilmember Baker,
Yes.
Councilmember DeMonico.
Yes.
And Madam Mayor, I would move to receive and file the special minutes from the special meeting of April 26, 2022.
Support.
Motion and support. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Curley,
Yes?
Councilmember Lucido,
Yes.
Mayor Owens,
Yes.
Councilmember Baker,
Yes.
Councilmember DeMonico.
Yes.
We have no scheduled hearings, no unfinished business, and we're going to go straight to reports from administration, starting with our city manager, Ms. Walton. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and Council. First, I'd like to highlight the MML training, the Parliamentary Procedure Training. It is scheduled for this month, May 25th at 6 p.m. There is a link that has been sent to all council members, as well as the Board of Education at the school board, and then all of council as well. If you're interested in attending, we'll have a sign-up sheet in the Survey Monkey for everyone to sign up, so we can provide that to MML. We are providing Planning Commission and Zoning Board of Appeals training, so that'll be coming up soon for all of those members to participate, and that's also being put on through McKenna. As Mr. Edwards and Mayor have mentioned, there have been updated concrete repair maps provided on the website. Our Director of Public Works has provided updates in terms of the streets that have been done and what we'll be moving towards completing, and then the years that they'll be completed. So there is updated maps that were just put up in the last week. I have mentioned at the earlier meeting that Councilmember DeMonico had shared a grant that Hazel Park was actually awarded for the solar panels being added to the library. Our administration has put together a grant and successfully submitted that, so we will hear back hopefully by June 2022 to see if that is a grant that we've been awarded to place solar panels on top of the Memorial Library to reduce the cost of electricity at the library. The governor has announced that May 1st through the 7th is Small Business Week, so I'd encourage everyone to support the small businesses that we have currently in the city of East Point. And then I'd also like to highlight our first Clean City Initiative, which is this Thursday, that starts at noon, and we'll all be meeting at the DPW building. If you're available, we'd love to see your face. Other than that, that's my report, and I can answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you, ma'am. Any questions for our city manager? Okay, moving right along to our finance director, Mr. Blum. Good evening. Yeah.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and Council. Just wanted to report that the city's controller and myself met with bond counsel and our municipal financial advisors on the pension bond issue. We met with them this afternoon, went through the procedures and what needs to be done. They estimate it will be a 6 to 9 month process, and there will be a report will be put together that has to be presented to council for approval. Once that's approved, it will go up to Treasury for their approval, and then after that point is when the bonds can be sent out for bid. But it will take a little bit of time. When you get your report, it'll be a good thick one, measured in inches. A lot of detail, but it'll be, fortunately, if we get it, because Treasury still has to prove it, it will solve some of our pension funding issues. And that's all I have for this evening.
Okay, thank you, sir. Any other questions for our director? Seeing none, going to our city attorney, Mr. Albright. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and members of council. The city council is in receipt of our monthly status report. There were a couple of items that I wanted to discuss on there. There's approximately 3 properties that have been designated as a nuisance abatement. And for members of the public, what that means is these properties have been identified by the building department. Specifically, these properties are vacant. It was brought to the attention of the building department that there were squatters and other trespassers living and taking things from these properties. These properties are owned by someone who is deceased. And oftentimes family members do not wish to get involved with the deceased relative's property. There are many reasons for that. For instance, they may not have the monies to initiate probate proceedings. They may not know that. They may not wish to engage the services of an attorney. And so what the building department has been doing in conjunction with our office, the city attorney's office, is identifying these properties. In fact, Ms. Holman just provided me with some signed state papers this evening, and what we do then is we open up an estate in the Macomb County Probate Court. We have a public administrator appointed to oversee the estate. They try to locate heirs of the decedent, and then also try to have the code violations corrected, and ultimately have the property sold to someone who will either correct the code violations or live in the properties. So it's a process that oftentimes takes approximately 6 months on average to complete. But what it does is it addresses these properties that may be in someone's neighborhood where the owner is deceased and the property is not being maintained. The city can issue tickets all it wants to the property, but if there's no one to address these tickets and violations, then there's nothing really that can be done. And so that's why we've been engaging this procedure. The reason I also mention this is if you have a house that you believe where the owner is deceased and the property is not being maintained, you are welcome to contact our office with the address, and we will then look into that and get with the building department. The city attorney's address is 586-778-7778. That's all I have, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Any questions for our city attorney? Seeing none, moving right along to new business. Item A, matching technical assistance grant for the zoning ordinance amendment process. Council, any discussion on this? If not, we'll move right along.
Madam Mayor, I'll motion to accept the match grant funding for the zoning ordinance and parking study project in the amount of $30,000 from the Redevelopment Ready Community Team at the Michigan Economic Development Corporation.
Support. And Mayor, if I could just make one comment?
Yes, sir.
I think this, part of this is that parking study, and the Planning Commission for sure has talked a lot about parking and shared parking agreements and that sort of thing, and just in general, our whole society has too much parking generally. So I think that will be great to address. That is all.
Okay, we have motion and support. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Lucido,
Yes.
Councilmember DeMonico,
Yes.
Mayor Owens,
Yes.
Councilmember Baker,
Yes.
Councilmember Curley.
Yes.
Item B, the review and adoption of updated Michigan Freedom of Information Act, the FOIA policy, procedures, and guidelines, and public summary of Michigan FOIA policy, procedures, and guidelines for the city of East Point. We have our attorney here if we have any questions. Any discussion, council?
Sure.
Yes,
I
sir.
had a couple quick things. And as it states here, this is just this is a proposed update of the FOIA policy we approved 7 years, well, yeah, 7 years ago, I think, about. And I just had a question. There was one part, I think page 11, let me get back to it here, where I thought it was just basically a section that was not appropriate to just have in ours because it, I think it's a part of the FOIA law. It says like an action shall not be filed in circuit court unless one of the following applies. I just thought it was weird that maybe we, and I don't know who can answer this, that we were going to state what the reasons you could file a circuit court action was. I don't know if we on purpose had it in there, but it just seemed like something that was extra that we didn't necessarily need to provide in our specific policy. It's like middle of page 11, and there's a chunk that talks about, like it says, an action shall not be filed in circuit courts unless one of the following applies. The city does not provide for appeals of fees. The city managers fail to respond, and so. I think like if someone wanted to take further action, they, you know, we should just like recommend they reference the law, and maybe not, I don't know, or does it need to be in the FOIA policy?
The council could add it if it wanted to.
Or well, it's in there. I'm saying, does it need, or like remove it if, or just keep it?
I would recommend that we leave it in there.
Okay.
Without making any changes.
And then the other question I had was, what, for this proposed new policy, what was the reason for changing the appeal process if something is denied? Like it right now says it should go to the mayor and basically copy the clerk in, give like a copy to the clerk or email, and then it was changed to just the city manager. I was just curious about that.
So that's actually the process that we've been following. So we did have one appeal that did go to the city manager, and this is all based on law and general law. So this is also a process that we've actually, Otis and Mike have actually participated in putting together the policy. They've done a lot of research and outreach to other communities in terms of their process and how things are followed. And so we've mimicked a lot of our policies and fit those to East Point, but again, in line with the FOIA law.
And I'm just asking, and I guess for the rest of council too, is, well, I think regarding if we've followed our own procedure in the past or not is one question, but I think in the future, if there's a denial of a FOIA request and it does go to the Macomb Circuit Court, which would be the next step, like it involves the city, then city council is basically gonna be responsible at that part. And this isn't necessarily hypothetical. Just a few years ago, we were sued for this reason, and then I just think there should be some oversight from the city council, because from what I recall, unless someone recalls otherwise, well, two of you were here. I didn't know until there was already a circuit court action, and then we kind of didn't really have a discussion at that point. I just think, from the council perspective, we should just have some sort of, obviously the city manager can do most of the work, but like we should be involved if there's a denial, like be alerted at least so that we can just take a look.
Sure. I will mention, we don't make those decisions lightly. I would say 100% of the time, we do consult with the attorneys because it is a legal matter. And the one that was denied was a personnel matter. And so Brandon Fournier, our labor attorney, was consulted in making that decision. I have not, and in my tenure, Ms. Doom has not made that decision without consulting the attorney. So we work very collaboratively in making those decisions. If you do have concerns and council would like to move forward with getting notifications of a denial, that's something that you guys could move forward with. But it is not a decision that we just make on our own. We absolutely consult with the attorneys because it is a legal matter.
Any other questions, sir?
Well, I guess my proposal, I mean, I understand what's being said, but I think we should keep what we had before. All the surrounding communities I looked at too have in some effect the city council involved with the denial process, and our procedure wouldn't have that any longer. So I guess, the rest of the policy is fine and all the different changes, but I think I would just, request that we change that portion back about the denials, so that it's a mix of the mayor and the city clerk, and like the city council is, I don't remember the exact wording, part of the actual policy.
May I ask clarification, Councilman Monaco, to you actually? So what you're saying is so if someone wants to appeal the denial, so the city manager would still, the one that would initiate the initial denial, but then their first step to appeal would be to come to the mayor?
That's what it says right now. Right now, it would just go to the city manager, and there's nothing in our policy that says we should even be, notified. I mean, obviously, Ms. Walton, you might, but I'm just looking to the future, whoever is here and whoever is on city council. I don't want, and obviously that's what happened anyway, even though our policy said it, we're in a lawsuit and council's kind of like, okay, now, now what do we do?
So if it will alleviate it, if we do get to that point, it's something that I, during my tenure, have no problem adding into a report so that you are aware of it. But again, part of it is legal, so it is taking the advice of legal counsel in their direction. So if they say that we're within the rights or things should not be released, or releasing it would violate privacy issues for an employee, we follow that recommendation. I would not make a decision contrary to legal counsel that represents the council in the city.
So I think I understand where you're coming from, Ms. Walton, but I also understand where Councilman Monaco's coming from. And I mean, I would hope that if someone were to bring an appeal even to this body, to the mayor and to council, that they also would have the ability to have access for a legal opinion from our city attorney also. So we would be taking the same advice. It's just that coming to us to make that decision is giving us the ability to have the final say, especially if they do end up taking it to circuit court.
What do you, what's your opinion on that? And then I'm asking down there.
Do you want me to pass it to you? Do you want
I'd be happy.
to? Okay, go for it.
The way Michigan's FOIA law is currently drafted, any appeals go either to the head of the public body, or the aggrieved party may file an action in the local circuit court, which in this case would be Macomb County Circuit Court. Some cities have interpreted that language to either mean the mayor themselves of the particular public body, or the city manager of a particular public body. So some cities, and I've looked at, some cities have, some of our neighboring cities have the city manager that reviews those appeals after a decision has been made by the FOIA coordinator, and then the person has the choice either to file with either the mayor of that public body or the city manager, or if they decide that they're not going to do that, they simply want to file an action in the circuit court, they have that option to do that. So right now, the way the current proposed policy is presented is that any appeals from a decision of the FOIA coordinator would go to the city manager. The city manager would then make a decision, but that person could, instead of doing that, file an action with the circuit court.
So I guess the question is whether we want to have that decision made by the mayor or by the city manager.
That's correct.
I don't mind, I think we have a good relationship to the point where, she just stated that if anything, as far as legal, we can have that conversation. She can also bring it to the table, not only for me, but all the council. So we all can share in those ideas, even if we have to go to closed session for that. How does that sound? Just to have our opinion. So not just me having that decision, but I'll leave that open to all of us being a part of that as one.
I support that, Mayor.
What do you guys
Anybody,
think?
I guess, interested in changing that, just me, I guess.
I mean, I agree with Councilman Monaco. I think we should stay within with the mayor. Making it.
Councilman down there.
Well,
Councilman Baker.
I typically don't argue with the legal minds. That's what they're here for. So I would rather just go with the recommendation that the attorney has made and move forward as follows. Ms. Walton says she'll inform us of things that we, if that decision needs to come or some information needs to come to council, she's going to do that. So I'm not going to argue with the attorney's recommendation.
Well, this is a proposal from Ms. Walton, not from Mr. Albright.
No, she's saying that the decisions that she's made and the language as it's written was based off of conversation with the labor attorney. That's what I was referring to, not Mr. Albright.
Yeah, I'm not saying either one's illegal, but I'm saying this proposal on the agenda is from Ms. Walton.
I understand that. I was quoting what she just literally just said like 5 minutes ago. That's what I meant.
So yeah, just to clarify really quick then, because I missed that part. So you're saying that Brandon Foreigner is the one that recommended we make these changes, or was it you and Mr. McLeod?
This is something that we worked on to update. So one of the requirements is adopting this policy in order to charge for FOIA requests that are over and beyond. So without an updated FOIA policy, we cannot charge for those requests that come in. So we presented an updated policy after going out and reviewing multiple communities and have presented that. Mr. Albright did review this. We did send the information over, so it was a collaborative approach, and he was supportive of what was presented. So it's not something that we've done on our own to present. It's something that we have worked on and have provided to him ahead of time to review. Now, if there is something that comes in that is labor-related, we do consult with Mr. Fournier. If there is something that comes in that we have concern over, we do consult with Mr. Albright in terms of just general city operations and submitting FOIA requests. So typically, FOIA requests that are over and beyond are specific to something. We do reach out to the city attorneys and make sure that we're in compliance.
Thank you.
Any other questions, concerns? Anyone want to make a motion moving forward?
Well, yeah, I guess I'll make a motion, Madam Mayor, that, motion to adopt the updated City of East Point, Michigan Freedom of Information Act FOIA policy, procedures, and guidelines, and public summary of the FOIA policy, procedures, and guidelines with the change that I've been suggesting about the denials going to the mayor, copy the city clerk and the city attorneys in there with the council being approved. I can, point out that exact language, but that would be my motion.
I'll support that.
Motion and support, please call the roll.
Councilmember DeMonico,
Yes.
Councilmember Lucido,
Yes.
Councilmember Baker,
No.
Councilmember Curley,
Yes.
Mayor Owens.
No. Moving right along to the review of fee studies and proposed updated fee schedule. Council?
I have one quick question. So this is just for review today. We're not voting on anything, though, right?
Correct.
Okay.
I have a question. I have a question that there's page after page after page after page of fees for everything from A to Z. And a lot of them are the same as they were before, and there are some changes. So I guess if I was sitting out in the audience or at home, my question would be, how did you derive at any given price for any given work?
That's a great question, Councilmember Curley. So part of it, we had two fee studies that were done. One by Carlisle Wortman, who looked into the building department fees and looked at 8 different communities that were similar to East Point and made recommendations for those fees that were comparable, again, to other communities. McKenna also looked at the planning and zoning fees and also gave recommendations for those. We also take a look at staff costs, so the cost of staff that are conducting the work that is being done in the building department and what it costs for them to complete work. And that goes into the costs for, or that are listed on the fee study as well.
Okay. Now we know where it came from.
Any other questions, Council? No. Move right along. And I believe that we were supposed to have some, a training for this, or not a training, but get, what was that we were gonna do for this
So,
study?
yep, if you want, we can actually go over the fee study and just highlight some of the things that are important, if you're open to that now, or we can certainly talk about it when we put it back on for a first reading on May 17th. But initially, it's just really presenting and providing the information to mayor, council, and the rest of the community. So if there are questions, instead of just going straight to a first reading, we wanted to take it a little bit slower and present those changes and the recommendations from the studies so that they can be understood prior to the first reading.
May 17th sounds like a great date.
It gives the residents time to look at
Yeah.
the assessing fees, but then also, when you have it on the website, can you put what the before and what the after? And like she just explained, we're want to be like every other community. So we're kind of behind on, this is how we bring in our revenue, by making sure that we're like everybody else and bringing in the right costs and things like that. Ms. Walton, is that correct?
Absolutely.
Okay.
That is correct.
Hey, Council, any more?
And I think just to clarify then, so at the next meeting, then we'll kind of discuss more like apples to apples kind of change, because I know we're doing the sections and I was trying to follow through, and I knew since we had a first and second reading, I have time to review more of the details, but some of it looked initially hard to, compare apples to apples, and so that's the intention for next meeting.
Yes, and you will see, there is a vast difference in the two studies that were put, or the two fee schedules, the prior one and the new one. One of the big changes, again, is reorganizing some of the things. Some of them are repetitive, so there are some changes in terms of that. And then some of them, actually, the calculations were off, and so correcting those as well. But we can certainly go in, if council is wanting to go item by item or department by department, we can absolutely do that as well.
Thank you, sir. Now, how do we make sure that the people that's affected by these different costs, How are we communicating with them? Are they notified?
So it varies. The building department fees that are assigned are essentially for residents and businesses that come in and want to do construction on their homes or have new construction. So these are people that are investing in the community. Part of that is, again, providing information on the website, but it's also important to ensure that we're covering the cost of the services that we're providing. And so if we have trade inspectors, the city is paying a higher amount for trade inspectors than what currently it costs and what people are coming in to pay for. So just in general terms, if it costs the city $100 to send a plumbing inspector out, right now, we're only recouping $60 of that $100. So the rest of the residents in the city of East Point are subsidizing the additional $40 out of the general fund to cover that. And so covering the exact costs are important. So part of it is supplying an updated fee schedule and then providing that information in terms of the cost of services it costs for the city of East Point to provide such service.
Okay. I think in here you do have the old cost and then the new cost. I guess Councilman DeMonico and I were saying side by side, so people don't get, confused or tired of do all this paperwork and go straight to it. Okay. Council? Do you have anything else? Okay. So we can go ahead, Councilman.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I'll motion we schedule the proposed fee schedule for first reading at the regular city council meeting scheduled for May 17th, 2022.
Support. Motion and support, please call the roll.
Councilmember DeMonico?
Yes.
Councilmember Lucido?
Yes.
Councilmember Curley,
Yes.
Mayor Owens?
Yes.
Councilmember Baker?
Yes.
Next is payroll and bills.
Madam Mayor, I'll motion to pay the bills in the amount of $1,145,173.85.
Support.
Motion and support, please call the roll.
Councilmember Lucido?
Yes.
Councilmember Baker?
Yes.
Councilmember Curley,
Yes.
Mayor Owens?
Yes.
Councilmember DeMonico?
Yes.
Next is the second hearing of the public. If anyone would like to speak at this time, you get 3 minutes. Say your name and your residency, and I don't start the time until you tell me those 2 items. So, hearing of the public is now open. Seeing no one wants to speak at this time, that means you're doing a great job. So, next, okay.
Thank you, Mayor Owens.
Yes, sir.
And council. I'd like to speak at this time on regard to, I guess I need to find the proper information or direction in going about, before I go there, we all are aware that East Point was sued by the federal in regard to its practices with the with the voting rights and things of that sort, demographic of the voting rights and things of that sort. And it was decided by a majority of the body of the council that's on panel now to go a certain way with a choice of right to vote and what have you. So I need to know, how do one go about to get that question raised or concerned in order, because I'm against it and I always have been. It's garbage. And the second thing is that someone spoke earlier in the first session in regard to they didn't know who to go to. We need districts. We need to hold somebody accountable. The way it is now, nobody's held accountable. It's just almost wide open. So we're in 2022, things need to change, need to update instead of going backwards. That right to vote choice, the right to vote and everything, that was going totally backwards and what have you. And so if someone could give me information on how to go about and raising that to get, whether it's on ballot or however, to get it to the public, to make people aware and give that another spin to try and get this changed.
Thank you, sir. Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. My name is Raymond Clayton, resident of East Point for approximately 10 years. I need to have some type of schedule for the street cleaning because it seems like when they put signs out, we have no idea. So is there kind of schedule that you can put on a website so that we can find out? I appreciate that very much. Thank you.
Let me go. Thank you, sir. I believe we already do, I don't know if we put it on the website already, but I think we send something, some communication when we're cleaning. I don't know if it's on the website or not, but I know we do some type of communication via, is it text, or do we use Nixle with that?
We don't use Nixle right now. We typically post on the website, and then the signs are posted out as well prior to the day of street cleaning. And then I know Rachel has also posted on social media to notify residents as well, and we can certainly try other avenues.
Thank you, sir. Would anyone else like to speak? Yes, sir.
Well, I just wanted to let you guys, ladies, know that this weekend will be our Mother's Day weekend. So don't forget to celebrate your families. Don't forget to celebrate. And I just wanted to tell you what I'm doing is being a school crossing guard is very important because I've been starting back in '92, and coming up in November 7th would be my 30th anniversary coming up in November. And I don't have any problems doing that, and it's very important for all you guys and Mr. DeMonico. We've been friends with him for a long time, and I just want to say thank you for your prayers for me to do this, and it's very important for me to do all that. So I wish you well, all you guys, all you ladies out there for Mother's Day, and enjoy your day, and God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you. God bless you. I know you want to speak. I don't want to. Thank you for your service to the community all these years. Thank you so much. Good evening, sir.
Madam Mayor, Council. Walter Kubiak, East Point resident. One of the problems I have is you say, do everything online. What about the people who don't have a computer, don't have phone access, or can't use a phone? I call on a phone. I don't do anything else. I have 10 thumbs. Okay? What happened to when we used to put it on the TV? It's gone. See, I think everybody has a TV. So why don't we put some of that information on a TV? We used to look on a TV to tell whether the city was going to come out and plow and whether I was going to have to shovel my sidewalk twice. Don't have that access anymore. Everything's online. Everything's on your phone. Not my wife I got her a phone and she doesn't even use it. I don't think she even knows how to turn it on. But, how many other people are like that? So we're denying a lot of residents access to what's going on in the city. And I think that should be looked into. The other thing, I talked to Mr. DeMonico a few weeks ago when I was here, and I asked them when they were going to repair 9 Mile. You know, if the big three find out how bad 9 Mile is, they're going to be testing their cars up and down here. It's terrible. And yet, we go and replace all the water meters. I think that could have waited. Now, he told me, and I have to take his word at it, it's going to take 3 to 4 years to go from there to there. That's nuts. The last time you guys did it, you did it 1 year. And now we have to wait. That section over by the freeway, to miss the potholes, you know, Detroit just went to the federal government and got a bunch of money to fix houses up. Has anybody tried that yet? Get a little extra money, maybe we can get it fixed sooner? Please, council, fix 9 Mile.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening, Councilman. Good evening,
Good evening, sir.
Mayor. My concern is Crusade. Them potholes been bad for a long time, coming up and down there, north and south. You go from one side of the road to the other, and the buses come in there, and they salt that all winter. And they need to come out and fix it. Repairing, putting that slag in there don't do any good. It's right out the next time it rains and stuff. Could you please do something with Crusade?
Thank you, sir. Anyone else would like to speak at this time? Seeing none, the second hearing of the public is now closed. I believe our city manager wrote a lot of your concerns down, and if you want to stay at the end of the meeting to get some of those questions answered, she's available for that, and also will look it up if she doesn't have the answers tonight. We're going to move right along to mayor and council reports. Since we've been starting with Councilman DeMonico the whole time, one more time. Councilman DeMonico.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Yeah, first of all, let's see, Mr. Edwards, I think hopefully I got a couple answers for you here. Well, first of all, COVID was real and is real, first of all. Second, well, you brought it up at the hearing in public that it was not real, but also ranked choice voting. I think you're going to have some good news, not good news to me. I disagree and think that it is good. I like ranked choice voting. I think it's a very good way to elect people, but and this is the mutual agreement we came to with the Department of Justice. They wanted it and we wanted it. We both agreed to it, but it was 4 years, and I think it expires in, I think it's like June of next year. We won't have another regular city council election before then. If we have a special election before then, it will be ranked choice, but after that, the council hasn't extended it. We could have extended it by mutual agreement with the Department of Justice, but we as a body have not chosen to. I voted to extend it. So it will be ending, so you don't have to worry about it. We won't have districts after that. It'll still be at large, like it was pre-2017. But that's the case with the ranked choice voting. And then also about the 9 Mile changes. I mean, yeah, it will take a couple years, and hopefully, everything can go well in those few years to get it all done as quickly as possible. And I mean, this is like a once in a generation chance to do it, so I'm glad we are able to do it. It's not every day for sure that we're fixing 9 Mile. So hopefully just be a little more patient. It's supposed to be starting soon enough at the west city limits. And the water meter change, I was hoping to push that off a little while too, like you were saying, Mr. Jakubiak, but that is not how we all voted. Looking forward, we're moving forward with the city manager search, so that's looking good. Glad we're moving forward on that. Also, Ms. Salafia, thank you for coming forward, our chairwoman of our beautification commission, and thanking everyone and for coming out and getting, yes, plenty of you are in the audience that were there. Thank you. Thanks for finding a door. We got a door out of the median on 8 Mile, which is just kind of crazy, and 38 bags of garbage. And just to say again, the perennial exchange that Ms. Salafia was mentioning also will be Saturday, May 7th, 10 to 1:30 at the library. Some other stuff going on at the library too, so if you're around, check that out. The Memorial Day parade's coming up. We'll be doing it at 11 a.m. on Memorial Day. So head over to St. Clair Shores or whatever on Sunday, and then come over here on Monday. And then just a couple quick other things. If anyone saw The Band's Visit at the Fisher Theater, my cousin Joe Joseph was in that. And so I got to see him at the Fisher Theater. That was pretty awesome to go to the Fisher Theater and literally see my cousin acting in it. So if anyone else went, you saw my cousin acting at the Fisher Theater. So that was exciting. Wanted to give him a shout out. I know he was covered by a whole bunch of the media outlets in the area. So that was really cool because he's from Southfield. And then last but not least, Mr. Zander, thank you for coming out, doing the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance like you always do. And more importantly, thank you for your upcoming 30 years as a crossing guard and keeping the kids safe.
Yeah.
Everybody in the community for sure appreciates that. Okay, one more clap. And that's everything, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Councilman Baker.
Well, congratulations to our city manager. It's an interesting process, my first time being a part of it. So it was an experience, but I'm glad to be able to say congratulations. Thank you, everybody, for coming out and showing interest in the city. Thank you for keeping us accountable and letting us know what you see, what you think, and sharing your concerns with us. As per usual fashion, I like to end with something positive, and that's usually my word of the day. So with all the craziness going on in the world, I like to end with something. Just I like to learn and keep my mind going and growing, and just to do something good to keep away from some of the negativity. So this is an old one, but my word is inextricable. This is something that is impossible to disentangle or separate. Love, kindness, thoughtfulness, trustworthiness, honesty, and integrity are qualities that should be inextricable from our character. Amen. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Curley.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I have a few things, but first of all, it's nice that we have freedom to disagree, and my learned friend down on my right-hand side talked about ranked voting, and I personally am thrilled to death that it will never come back to East Point. So we agree to disagree on that. Unfortunately, the pandemic and COVID has hit 1 million deaths in America. It's hard to comprehend that, isn't it? 1 million people. We need to be careful. It seems like it's coming back in a way, and I'm not condemning anybody that hasn't gotten their shots yet. That's your decision to make. But be careful out there. You don't know who's going to be affected. Continued concerns and prayers for Ukraine. It doesn't look like, oh boy, it doesn't look like it's going to come to an end anytime soon. So I'll just come out and say it, folks. We need to pray. You need to pray that a resolution is found. The violence and the killing, or the murdering, actually, the murdering would stop. And then one last thing. There's an old saying, East Point, no better place to live. And I believe that with all my heart. And even though we have little bumps and bruises on our bodies, we're still a wonderful city. And I would hope that all of you will realize that you're here in a city that's wonderful. And even though we have our disagreements, that's okay. And I've got to say this, my fellow council members and staff from this city, they do their best. And their first concern is the city. It's not their concern about themselves. It's their concern about the city. So let's think about them. And even though we disagree, that's okay to disagree, but don't be so angry that you have to write something on the computer that's nasty. We don't need that. Just disagree to disagree. Thank you, ma'am. That's it.
Councilwoman Lucido.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. First, I'd like to thank my 4 other council members and the mayor for having a nice, smooth first meeting tonight. I think it went really well. I'm really happy with what we ultimately decided on, and I am excited to see what the future of East Point holds for us. I also would like to thank everyone that came out to help with the cleanup from beautification on Saturday. We had a really good turnout. And I want to encourage everyone to come out on Thursday to DPW for another cleanup. I believe it starts at 11 o'clock? Noon, at 12 o'clock. So if you're not doing anything, grab some gloves, come over to DPW, and help us pick up some trash, because we want to make sure we continue to keep East Point beautiful and clean. And I also want to tell everyone that this year we are having the Memorial Day Parade, like Councilman Monaco said. There is going to be a new route. The new route will be from the Military Museum to Spindler Park. So there will not be any parade along Gratiot. It'll strictly be on along Stevens Avenue. So bring your families out. It's a fun, free event. There's going to be a picnic at the end. If you know any organizations that would like to get involved in the parade and would like to march in the parade, please contact myself or Councilman DeMonico, and we will forward that information over to the gentleman who organizes everything. And I also would like to take a moment to wish Madam Mayor a happy Mother's Day, along with all the other mothers out there. So I hope you all have a wonderful Mother's Day. Hopefully we have some sunshine and everyone has a great weekend. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. And happy Mother's Day to you as well. And also everyone out there, Mother's Day is that's one of my favorite days, my birthday. And I'm just being real. Those two are my favorite. Oh, of course, that is Christmas, which is, and Easter, things like that, supersedes those 2 days, of course, so 4. So I want to thank all the council and staff, and also Amy Sale for helping us find a city manager. I hate that we spent so much money wasting money on something that was right in front of us. So we offered her the city manager position earlier today. Some of you wasn't able to attend that interview, but we are in good hands. So I want to say congratulations, and you better take that offer. So we want to really welcome you to our family, and I can't wait to see what you're going to do for the city of East Point. And also, I'm going to close it. I have a lot of work to do, but I love seeing your faces, and hopefully you guys can come out this Thursday. We worked, the team, we worked really hard putting this initiative together. So bring your gloves, your masks, and things like that. Comfortable clothes. You don't have to wear heels now. I'm trying to be cute and wearing a suit. We're cleaning up, and the mayor would not be having heels on or anything like that. So I will be having on gym shoes. So come comfortable, bring your family, bring friends. Let it be like a fun event. Don't make it like it's a job. This is your city. You invest in this. Let's have fun, clean up our own city. And so moving right along, God bless you, God keep you. We're going to go to adjournment, council.
So moved.
Support. Motion and support, please call the roll.
Councilmember Curley,
Yes.
Councilmember Lucido,
Yes.
Mayor Owens,
Yes.
Councilmember Baker,
Yes.
Councilmember DeMonico.
Yes.
Meeting adjourned.